Your body adapts to the position you're in most of the time. So if you sit a lot or you're in the texting mode a lot, you get really good at that rounded shouldered position. Now that is protraction of the shoulder. Now there's a little muscle responsible for that action, but obviously if you're using it a lot, it's going to get overworked. Now there's also the issue of flexing the spine forward or making your thoracic back quite restricted, which could affect your breathing. But also just think about how much range of motion you have if you fix your shoulder in a protracted state and try and raise your arm. Now surprisingly enough, because our body's an integrated system, actually affects your hips as well. So if you're trying your best to get a really good squat and you've got an issue with your pec minor muscles, then it's going to limit the actual range of motion you can get in your squat. Your capacity will not be as good. So as a biomechanics coach, I'm able to test not just one muscle, but numerous muscles and nerves within the actual system to show whether you're moving in your best capacity you can possibly be. And this pec minor muscle originates on the top of the scapula, the anterior part of the scapula, and then it fixes to the 3rd, 4th and 5th portion of the ribs. So as you can imagine, that is why it gets really good at protracting the actual shoulder movement forward and back, and it depresses it as well. But if you're getting it constantly worked in that position from your posture, eventually the body's going to get injured because it can't keep doing that for too long. So there is a solution. The solution is a muscle energy technique for the pec minor muscle. So I want you to try and place your hand on one shoulder, and that's going to be resistance as you protract your shoulder forwards. So you're going to try and get 20% effort for 20 seconds while hopefully breathing, relaxing, focusing on the rest of your day. And then after your 20 seconds, you'll feel the difference. You take the shoulder back, maybe place it back in its neutral position, and then you go again. So this muscle energy technique is very safe, and it's been researched numerous times, and it gets lovely results compared to stretching because of its safety aspect. And release. So basically, if a muscle is overused, overactive, eventually it's going to get tired, it could get weak, it will feel tight, it will be dysfunctional, and it won't have the capacity to contract anymore. So this technique, this is our final one, provides energy within the muscle so that we can then strengthen it better. So give this a go 4 times, 20% effort, 20% tension. 20 seconds. Lovely. Okay, release. Part 2 involves you strengthening the muscles once you've brought energy to the actual area that's dysfunctional or weak. So we take the opposite muscle group, the antagonist, which happens to be retraction, and we try and strengthen the retractor muscles. Now just to show you from the back, we actually try and get our shoulder blades into a nice feeling of tension. We hold it there for a few moments and release. Now we can either hold an object, keeping the elbows stiff, and try and get some force while we're in retraction, or we use our body weight. So if you get yourself on the ground and stiffen the elbows and try and perform that retraction exercise that you did standing up, and that will involve me dropping my body weight slightly between the shoulders, and then I can push back into something neutral and then retract down. Now if you're finding that quite comfortable, quite easy, you load it deeper by taking the knees further away, and we retract, and then we push back into something neutral. So we're working the retractors, which is the opposite muscle group to the pec minor that we're working in the previous exercise. And then part 3, there's also another part, is to work the strength muscles in the front of the body here. So the pec minor muscles you're going to strengthen now. So you could use a press up position, a traditional press up position, or you could use a band around your back and almost feeling yourself going into that press up. So much easier. And then back again. Obviously you can do this against the wall. Quite nice with a band, because I can feel these muscles now working in the front of the chest. So you've got 3 things to do. The first one's your muscle energy technique. Always, always, always first. Then practice the opposite muscle group, the retraction muscles in the trapezius. And then you're practicing strengthening the actual dysfunctional muscle, the pec minor. And just see, after you've been doing that for a few times, a few days, whether you've got a little bit more mobility in your shoulder. You might be able to take your arm better over your head. But also, because you're getting that better alignment in your shoulders, you will then be able to squat deeper without feeling that flexion forwards, that incapacity to move well. So improve your movement by just a little bit of awareness of your shoulders.